Good evening, everyone. We can start with today's session. So today we'll be speaking about 30 days of Google Cloud, which starts on 27th of September, that is today, to 27th of October. It is a 1 month program. So let's begin your journey with 30 days of Google Cloud. We're really happy to see all of you here and glad that you're interested and want to learn more about Google Cloud Platform. So just to start off, who are we? I am Sadhna, the GDSE ASCB lead, as well as Google Cloud Programs Facilitator for this year. And I also have with me Vinayak, who is our core team member, and Arvind, who is the former GDSE lead. And they will be helping me out in conducting this event today. So the agenda for today is basically we'll be looking at what cloud is, and I will give you an introduction to what this program is. We will also have an introduction and hands-on experience with Quick Labs, and we will tell you how to get help from Google, followed by a question and answer session, and we'll be happy to answer all of your questions that all of you have. So what is cloud? The word cloud basically refers to servers that are accessed all over the internet and the software and databases that run on those servers. So cloud servers are located in data centers all over the world. So by using cloud computing, users and companies do not have to manage physical servers themselves or run software applications on their own machines. The cloud enables users to access the same files and applications from almost any device because the computing and storage take places on servers in a data center instead of locally on the user's device. So this is why a user can log into their Instagram account on a new phone after their old phone breaks, or if they log out of their account from an old phone and want to log in into a new account or in a new phone, and still find their old account in the same place with the same chat history, photos, videos, etc. It works the same way with cloud email providers like Gmail or Microsoft Office 365, and with cloud storage providers like Dropbox or Google Drive. So what is 30 days of Google Cloud? So this program, it will introduce you to computing, application development, big data, and machine. We will be learning using the Google Cloud training platform called Quick Labs, where we will learn each of these topics using self-paced labs that provides us temporary credentials to Google Cloud. So for our convenience, these above topics are divided into two different tracks. The first track is cloud engineering, and the second track is data science and machine learning track. So moving to the first track, which is cloud engineering, we have the program. So by completing the quests under this cloud engineering track, you will learn to explore and deploy solution elements, including infrastructure components such as networks, systems, and application services. We have a total of 6 quests under this track. Now let's have a look at the second track, which is data science and machine learning. So by completing completing the quest in this track, you will learn and demonstrate proficiency in key topics related to big data and machine learning to prepare for roles such as data analyst, marketing analyst, business intelligence professional, and data engineer. This track also consists of 6 quests. So all might have a question, why should you enroll in this program? So one reason is that you can showcase what you've learned here to your professional network using Google Cloud hosted quests and skill badges. And you can also add this to your resume and professional profiles on LinkedIn. So after completing each quest from either of the tracks, you have a chance of earning Google Cloud skill badges. So skill badges are used to show that you have actually applied your new learned skills using a challenge lab at the end, where you have to take a new learned skill for a test drive. And the second reason is, on top of these amazing badges that you get a chance to win some really cool Google Cloud goodies. So you have two options here. So if you complete either one of the tracks, so you either complete the cloud engineering track or the data science and machine learning track, you get a t-shirt as well as Google stickers. And if you complete both these tracks, you get a t-shirt, Google stickers, a laptop bag, and a zipper. So these are the 2 rewards that you can get. So now moving on to Quick Labs. So what I'll be doing right now is I will be showing you step by step on how to log in into Quick Labs from the email that you've gotten. So from the first, we'll be showing you what to do. And after that, Vinayak will be telling you how to move about with the first lab. Just give me a minute and I will start off with the Quick Labs thing. By then, all of you can open your email, the email that you've received, and you can also open Google and an incognito tab. I hope my screen is.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
So this all of you have got. Also, doubts right now, like while going through. So this is an important. So you can open this in an incognito. Sorry. I hope all of you. So what you're supposed to do is, um, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but your voice is getting cut in between.
Okay, now is it fine? Hello.
Yeah, now it's clear.
Yes, it's not better.
So your first step is to open the email that you've received, and then open this, enter your code, right click on it, copy the link address, open an incognito tab, and paste the address in your search bar, and you get a screen like this. So after that, what you can do is go back to your mail, copy this code.
Amrita, sorry to disturb. It's not visible actually. You are in the new tab only.
Sorry, yeah, just a. Okay, is this fine?
Yeah, it's visible, but I'm not able to see this mail. Not sure what it is.
You can check in your spam folder or in your promotions folder or in your inbox. Check
Okay,
everywhere
okay.
if you've gotten the mail. If you still haven't gotten the mail, you will get it by tonight. So you
Okay.
can look at the steps right now and then follow the same.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So as I said, I hope all of you have done this. Open this in an incognito tab. Now copy this link, this unique access code that they've given. Copy that unique access code and paste it here. So now once you've done this, you will have to sign in. Sign in with the Quick Labs email that you have given in both the forms. I will repeat all the steps once again. So first you need to open the email that you received, and then you need to copy the email, the enter the code thing that has been given. Copy that link, open an incognito tab, paste that link in the incognito tab, and now you need to go back to the mail, copy the access code that has been given, paste it in the place where they've asked, and then click submit, and then you need to sign in. I hope no one has any problem as of now? Please let me know if there's any problem. We'll solve it immediately.
Sorry to disturb. When I click submit button, I'm not getting this sign in link. There is like we went something wrong.
Please refresh and try again. Try it in incognito tab.
I tried, but it's still showing the same.
Does anyone else face this problem? If you haven't gotten any such mail, it's fine. If you're sure that you filled the form, you will get a mail by tonight.
Hey Sadhana, am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yes.
Someone reported like we are sorry, some message no that already Sahana put in the group, and one more girl also reported like it is basically happening when people are signing in with Google. I feel the ones who are signing in with Gmail and password, they are able to do it with such an ease. So Sahana seems to have approached QuickLabs team and she said she will put in the group the instructions she got from the team.
Yes.
Was I
Okay.
audible?
Yeah. We'll get back to the
Huh.
people who are not able to do it, but I'm hoping that most of you could do it right now.
Okay, fine.
Does anyone else have any other problem? If not, we can ask Vinayak to move ahead.
Yes. Let us start with Quick Labs. So we have got into our account, and yes, we have got our credits as well. So to move on, we have 1 second. Let me remove this. Our first lab, which is common to both machine learning track and the engineering track as well, is a tour of Quick Labs and Google Cloud. In this lab, we'll learn about how the Quick Labs platform works and how we can integrate it with Google Cloud, right? So to get started with Quick Labs, first we need to go to the link which is given in your email ID, that the name of this lab is a tour of Quick Labs and Google Cloud. Then click the start button over here. Let me refresh.
All of you can do it with Vinayak. So it'll be like a hands-on session right now. After this is when you'll probably receive your monthly subscription or credits, whatever you get. So you can do it along with Vinayak. And if you have any doubts, feel free to unmute and ask us.
So if you haven't signed into your account yet, the one you provided in the form, you will not be able to start the lab. So before that, you will have to sign in. And then when you have signed in, it will show you the start button. Okay, so before we actually start the lab, I would like to know about you. So can I get the year in which you are studying right now? You tell me in the chat box. So if you are in first year, then type 1, and if you are in the second year, type second. I see a lot of second years over here and third as well. So since many of you are from second year, uh, would you like to tell me, do you have any prior experience in cloud computing? Okay, so no previous experience. No. Okay, so let me tell you, the quick lab session we are going to have now is completely free of cost from Google, and the labs which they're providing, each credit, let's say if you have one credit, each credit almost costs like a $1. So in this whole 1 month, we'll be using credits worth of, I guess, $300. Isn't that exciting? All right, so let us begin. So first of all, I'll sign out and show again. So you have to click on sign in button over here. And then you have to sign in with your Google which you provided earlier. So here, if you see, let's create a new account. Let me show you how it works. So I'll create a new account and then I'll type in my name over here. And I'll provide another email address over here which I have. And then I'll type in a password. I'll use the one generated by Chrome itself for now. Right. So now after activating our account, we'll get started with our first lab. I'll activate my account over here from my phone. And then now we'll sign in. Yes, so my new account is created over here. And now we'll go to the our lab, which is a tour of Quick Labs and Google Cloud. So yeah, so what is Quick Lab? Quick Lab is basically a training platform for learning Google Cloud. Here, when you join Quick Labs, you will see a bunch of instructions given for the particular lab, which session you are doing. So we have many quests present over here and many skill badges present over here. And each quest will contain a few labs over here. So this lab is one of them. And then um, so yes, going ahead, we'll have instructions given in our each lab, and then in this lab we'll also be given a brief introduction about what we are going to learn, and what are all the things we are going to. Whole agenda will be present over here. So to get started with the lab, we have to press Start Lab, and then what this does is that it is creating a temporary account for us, a temporary Google account for us with a username and a password. And it will also generate a Google Cloud project for us. So what is a Google Cloud project, you may ask? So let's say you're working at an organization and that organization has many projects to work on. So we can create many such projects in our Google Cloud platform. And there each project will have their unique ID, and that unique ID is this, right? And then each lab will cost some credits, and this lab is free for now. And then each those credits will be costing you every time. So since you're getting a monthly subscription in this 30 days of Google Cloud program, it will not be charging you this time. And then we have a few questions are present over here in Quick Labs which we can answer. And then if there is a different lab, there we will have a few grading points over here as well. So let me show you that as well. I will open another QuickLab lab, and let's see how that works. So yes, here we have particular agendas to finish. And what QuickLab will do is that since it has assigned you one temporary account, it can track you, like how many resources are you creating, how many, what are all the things you have created. All those can be tracked, and based on that tracking, you will be given points. And these points, once you finish all of these points, only then you can finish the lab, and that will mean that you have learned this concept properly, right? Now moving ahead, let us go ahead and launch our Google Cloud Platform. So to launch our Google Cloud Platform, what we have to do is we have to click the Open Google Console button. But since we are already logged into our account, what will happen is that it will have some conflicts with our account. So it will have whether our new account will not be shown over here. So that's why what we will do is we will create and we'll open it in incognito mode. And then in incognito mode, we'll sign in with our given credentials. So let us test out whether we learned what happens in QuickLab. So yes, when we click the start button, it will build a temporary environment for us. So the first one should be correct, right? Okay, so the answer to second one. I'll see the chat box, please. So let us see, am I able to explain correctly? So the second question is, when the timer reaches 0, you will lose access to a temporary Google account. Yes, Amia, it's true. Then the third question, some labs have tracking which scores your completion of hands-on lab activity. So what is it, true or false? Yes, true. Yes, Akash, it's true. And then the last one in this section is, in order to receive completion credit for a lab that has tracking you, you must complete the required hands-on lab activity. Yes, that's true. All right, so we have learned how QuickLabs is working here. Now let us head into our Google Cloud Platform. So we'll open this in incognito mode, and then it will ask us to sign in. So let us verify whether this is the same. So in case this text is not shown for you, what you could do is simply copy the username given over here, and then you have to just paste it in over there in the sign in page. So this is particularly how we sign into a Google account, right? Every time. So we have to do the same thing over here. And when we are done signing in, it will take us to Google Cloud Platform. All right, so we are in. So this is the interface of Google Cloud Platform, where you can see the very first page we can see is our dashboard. It will shows all the information of our project, and this is the project switcher. Let's say we have multiple projects over here, so we can select which project we want to work on, right? And then here we can track our resources, like let's say we have created a virtual machine in our or we are using object storage. So all those resources will be shown over here. And then if we are using any APIs, how many API hits are there per second, that will also be shown in this graph, right? And then let's say you have a particular server running, and you have set up whether that server is working or not. So let's say your server just crashed. So that section will be available in the monitoring section. Here it will have all the alerting policies which you have set. By alerting, I mean the policies which you create, like my VM instance is not working, then send me an alert. So such things will be shown up over here. And then we have the navigation bar. So here, if you're not able to see the navigation bar, you can click over here and it will open the navigation menu. And here all the sections will be present. Whatever the features are present, all the features that are available in Google Cloud Platform, that will be available over here. So let's say, let's say you're using a particular feature a lot, then you can just pin it using this button. Then based on what work you do. So let's say you want to search for an API service which you need. So let's go over here to API services. And then we can just see what all APIs we are using currently, and uh, what is the traffic, how many errors were there. So all these things can be seen over here. And like this, many services are present over here. So let us go to our quick lab and see what how much progress we have made till now, right? So accessing Cloud Console, we can open it using open Google Console button over here. And then what is a project ID? We discussed about it, how the credentials work, and we also signed into our Google Cloud account. So let us test our knowledge again, right? So the first question is, what field is not present in the left pane? Come on, hit me up in the chat box. So this is our left pane. So what is not present over here? The password is present over here. So we have the credential to log into Google Cloud account, right? Yes. So it is system admin. You are correct. So we have Google Console present, we have project ID present, and we have the password as well. So our system admin is not present over here. So that's a correct answer. And then the username in the left pane, which resembles to Google XX, so that is the hidden ID which is allocated to everyone, is a Google Cloud IAM identity. So what is the correct answer over here? True. So let us see whether it is correct or not. So let's say if there wasn't any presenter available like me, so that is what this 30 days of Google Cloud is all about. So you have this wonderful platform called Quick Labs over here, and you don't need anyone else to come and teach you. All the information will be present here, and you can also check whether you understood the concept properly or not. So that is the part about how Quick Labs actually is wonderful. And then we discussed about how we can switch all the projects, right? So as of now, we are not switching. So because we want to work in this project itself, right? So yes, we have a few questions over here again. An organizing entity for anything you build with Google Cloud. So what is it? Let's say you have an organization. So what is unique to that organization? What is unique to that project? The project ID, right? Yes, Google Cloud Project. That's the correct answer. Right? And then we have another question. Quick Lab resources is shared with all the Quick Lab users, which means that you cannot delete it or modify it. True? So yes, the answer is correct. It's true. And then we have Quick Lab resources is the project where you run all your lab steps. So what is it? Where do we run all our lab steps? So Quick Labs is giving us all the information, all the steps which we need to perform. But where are we actually performing it? We are performing it in Google Cloud. So it is generating the credentials for us. We are logging into our Google Cloud, and then we are performing all the steps which are written here in Google Cloud. So the answer will be false over here. Yes. So yes, we talked about navigation menu and services. So what are all the services present? Okay, so let me go through what are all the services present over here. So we have the compute engine present over here, storage, networking, So let me show you a glance of it. So first of all, we have all the general things over here. Then we have the compute section. Here in the compute section, you can create a virtual machine over here. And by virtual machine, I mean, let's say, like Sadhna explained, that uh, a cloud computing is all about a computer present at a data center, right? A center where we can access that computer using internet, using cloud, right? So how do we get the resources? How do we use the resources present over there? We get to use it by using virtual machines. So in virtual machine, we are given all the system configurations. So if I go and click on to VM instances, so you can see over here that we can create a new VM instance. We have to enable the API first. But since we cannot enable this API, if you ask me why, because Quick Labs is currently monitoring all our activities over here. And this creating a VM instance is not a part of our Quick Lab session, right? So as soon as you do something which is not given in the Quick Lab session, it will just ban your account. So please don't go anywhere else, which and only strictly do only what is written in our Quick Labs lab session, right? Or else it will ban your account, and then you might have to write them an email stating that you are a student and you didn't know what you're doing. So please give the access back to your account. So we'll learn about what a VM instance is in the coming sessions. It will be there in cloud engineering track, right? So moving ahead, we discussed about what compute engine does. We have something called Kubernetes engine as well. So in Kubernetes engine, when we create applications, so an application could have many small parts which it has to perform, right? We call them functions. We create functions for each separate work we have to do in any application, right? So such things can be made into clusters or containers. We call it containers, and these containers could be hosted separately. So all these things is done by Kubernetes engine. So each Kubernetes cluster will work separately independent, and it will uh, collaborate with the application as well. Uh, is anyone's mic on? Could you please mute your mic? Yes, thank you. So that was about compute engine. Then we have serverless architecture as well. So this is the best part, the app engine. Here what happens is that you don't have to worry about creating a VM instance. You can directly run the application in a serverless architecture where you will be directly given a code editor over here, and you will be able to just directly write the code over there, and Google Cloud will take care of all the background things, where how much VM instance create, how what should be the storage given, all those things will be managed in this serverless section. And then we have the storage section. Each organization has a ton of data. If we ask Google, Facebook, all these companies are data-based companies and they have tons of data. And all this data could be managed by the storage section. It could be of any format. It could be a multimedia file, a video, image, or just a database containing text and type of data, like how we have seen a database working. It has the integer values, it has character values. All those things could be managed in the storage section and the database section. So a database is not only about having data, it is about having related data. So when a database is present in a cloud, we can have the option to access it directly in our VM instance itself, and then manage it directly on Google Cloud. And then here we have many technologies. We can either have SQL based databases or NoSQL based databases as well. And that could be managed using this database section. And then we have application integration, networking. I would like you to explore more over here. So in these 30 days of Google Cloud, we will be going through most of them. All right, so since we're talking about these two tracks, which are cloud engineering and data science ML, so let's take up a question over here. What do you think? Which of these services will be you will be exploring in the cloud engineering part, and what services will you be accessing in data science and machine learning part? Yes, correct. So all the data operations part, like creating VM instance, managing the network, and creating the storage part, creating Kubernetes clusters, having serverless architecture, all these parts comes into our cloud engineering track. And then in the data science and ML track, so what do we understand by data science? The word data is in it, right? And since it's really difficult to manage data and collect it from our site, so all these parts is quite difficult, and Google Cloud makes it easier for us. So let's say if you're working on some IoT project, a sensor will be placed at the site, and that sensor will be continuously collecting all the data, and within, let's say, a month, and the sensor is collecting data every second, the data will become very huge. And this is where we will be managing with big data applications. So in Google Cloud, we have a technology called BigQuery. So in BigQuery, we will be accessing that data, we'll be managing that data and storing it efficiently. And then we can perform analytics on it by using data prep, and we could store it properly by using Dataproc, present over here in the big data section. So all this was data science part. Then machine learning part also comes over here, where we have to predict what the data might be in the future, and we have to train that data based on the previous data we have already. So all this part can be done using the AI section, where we have Vertex AI, and inside here we can directly give the access to the VM instance. So in VM, we can select which CPU we want, which GPU we want, and usually machine learning is heavy on GPU. So all those could be accessed over here, and we can provide particularly which GPU we want. So in each lab, whenever you start, you will have to create an VM instance, that's for sure. Then these were all the services we have in Google Cloud. So now let us head back to our quick lab session. And then, yes, we discussed all of them. So these were the services which we have in Google Cloud. Now going forward, we have a project over here, right, in Google Cloud. And let's say in an organization, on one particular project, only one person won't be working. There will be many people working in under one project, right? So managing the permissions of who can access which part of the Google Cloud services, which part of Google Cloud, is done by something called IAM. IAM stands for, let's see, who can answer what is IAM? It's right over here. So IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. And since it is done over cloud, we can say Cloud Identity and Access Management, right? So let us see how we can change the permissions of uh, people working in one project. So here we can go to IAM section, and if at all, let's say you are not able to find using this section over here, you can always type in the project you want to work on or the services you're looking for, and it will show up over here. So click over here, and then you will be presented with the main homepage of IAM section. Here you have everyone listed who all have what kind of access. And not only that, let's say you are creating separate groups of people, so that groups could be made over here, and all the various types of service activities which is going on in the cloud. Let's say you are creating a VM instance where it is checking for a particular, it is hitting one particular API, let's say, and that API, it is just particularly using one section of that API, or one part, or only one API. So it doesn't need access to any storage. If at all it is just doing some mathematical work and not accessing any storage which you're getting, it doesn't need the permission to access the storage, right? So this is where we can also give permission to an service or to people or a group of people, right? And that could be changed using this pencil button over here. So here if we go to roles, and then we can search for, let's search for our own permission as itself. So yes, so this is our username. So we searched for it and we got the access information. So here this particular user is having editor access, and a same one is having viewer access as well. This could be changed by using the pencil button. So if we move over here, let's search it again. Okay, let's go to Quick Labs and see what they are suggesting us. They are suggesting to find at Quick Labs username signed in with. Okay, and then okay, that student section we have to search. Let us search again. And then using that search section, what we could do using that pencil button, we'll have the access of whether it is an editor or a viewer or the owner. An owner can have complete access of the project that is going on. So let's say a organization is having 3 projects in it, and each particular project is done for some product which they have to give ahead to a client. So that client can have the owner access and he can manage everything over here. So all such things can happen on Google Cloud. So here when we press the pencil button, for some reason it is not working over here right now. So what we can do is can access whether it has editor access or viewer access. An editor can work on that particular service, and it can change all the settings over there. But a viewer can only see it. He can see what is the current status of that program, whether it is working or not, or what are all the properties of that service. And then the editor can actually change the setting of that particular service. So this is about IAM. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management, right? So we discussed over here. Now again, questionnaire. We are ready. So what offers quick access to the platform services and also outlines its offering. So in which part did we access all the services which are given in Google Cloud? Yes, the navigation menu. Then primitive roles set project level permission and unless otherwise specified, control access and management to all Google Cloud services. So what happens when we create a project and it by default what permission does it give to everyone present in that organization? By default it will give, okay fine, it is true. I'm just extending everything, right? You all know it, you all are smart, eh? So fine, another question. What provides all viewer permissions plus permissions for actions that modify state and such changing existing resources? So which permission? The editor, the viewer, the owner. Owner also has the access to editor role. Do note that, but in this option, we don't have the owner. So the correct one is editor, like everyone is saying. Then let us learn about APIs and services, right? So in the navigation menu, like we discussed earlier, we have APIs and services, and then we can go to the library tab over there. So let us do that. So we'll go to the navigation menu, and then we'll go to APIs and services, and then we'll go to library. So this is like similar to our Play Store, Google Play Store, how we download apps. We go to Play Store and search for it, right? This is the same thing. We are going to API library and we are searching for which API we want to use. So let us see which API service is Qwiklabs telling us. So we have to go and search for Dialogflow. So if you want to know what Dialogflow is, Dialogflow API gives us all the APIs we need to create Google Assistant applications. So if you want to create your own custom application and host it on Google Cloud, and then you can use it every day on your phone just by saying okay Google, right? So isn't that amazing? So all these things can be unlocked by using Google Cloud. So let us search for Dialogflow. And then we have here Dialogflow API. Here in this section, we not only have what is Dialogflow over here, we also have the pricing and the documentation. So in documentation section, we get to learn about how the API works. In an API, there could be several flags which is going into it. Let's say, let me give it an example of a function in an application, in a code. So in a function, it takes certain parameters every time, right? Whenever you call the function, it takes parameters over there. And sometimes an function can have many parameters and we don't know which parameter does what. So all these things are covered in the documentation part. Here in documentation, we learn how to use the API and a complete list of what all functionalities are present over here. And using that, we can use our Dialogflow API. So let us enable it. So meanwhile, let us see what is there in Qwiklabs. So now we have enabled our Dialogflow API, and then we can press on try this API. So when we click on try this API, a new tab will open where all the details will be present about how to use Dialogflow and how to use it. And that is the same screen which we saw earlier. And here we have all the details about each, what are all the APIs present in Dialogflow, how we can generate ads, how to use admin SDK. SDK means software development kit. So whenever, let's say you're using Windows over here. So on Windows, what happens is that you want to create some application, but the code is proprietary to Windows, right? About how the software should be made. So what they do is they provide a software development kit such that they can develop applications and have a documentation about how to develop applications. And in that kit, we'll have all the necessary items which is definitely needed to create an application present over there. So that is about how we can use an API, right? Now let us go back to our questionnaire, which you all love, right? Then, okay, when you start a lab in Qwiklabs, you need to enable APIs in your project to start working with Google Cloud. So what is the answer over here? Okay, Ramanan is saying true, false, and Amia is saying true. Okay, let's go with Amia. And I definitely know what the answer is, but tell me, Amia, what do you feel? Why should we enable APIs in our Google Cloud to work in our Google Cloud platform? So now, okay, Amia, it's okay if you're not able to answer. To access all the functionalities of Google Cloud, that is kind of true. Yes, we need to access all the functionalities of our Google Cloud, but necessarily we don't need to access APIs, right? We can access any services we want which do not use APIs. But yes, most generally we'll definitely need to use APIs and services. So yes, that is a quite confusing question. I can understand that because every application does make use of APIs. So, but for Google Cloud to work, it doesn't need APIs. So that is the question over here. So the answer is false. But let us see what happens when we click true. It will show a cross mark. So that option is not correct. So then we can choose the false option and click on submit, and it will work as it is. Correct. Now something about Cloud Shell. So Google Cloud comes with a Cloud Shell, and what is a shell, you may ask. So let me give, since we have second years here as well, so I'll give an example. You have seen in those movies, right, how those hacking sessions are conducted. They show a black window with all the green text and they're typing rapidly, right? So that part is called terminal or shell, and we have an access to we can access the complete operating system using shell, or also called terminal. So here similarly we have a shell for Google Cloud as well, where we do not need to use all the buttons and all the text. We have the copy button over here, we have the navigation menu, we have the search bar. We don't need all those things. So we don't need all these buttons. What we can actually do is that we can just click on this activate Cloud Shell button, and what will happen is that instead of using the GUI part, the graphical user interface part, we get to use the command line interface part. And this command line interface part is by typing over here in the Cloud Shell. So you can, just like how our how the hackers show that they're typing, right? So that means they don't have to open anything else. They just have to start typing over here and everything will happen. All the commands are present over here, and they do not need to use any other part of the operating system. And that is the best part about command line interface. So we have similar thing here, and Google Cloud uses the Unix operating system over here, where it is temporarily assigning you a 5 GB storage over here with a small CPU, which can with which you can access the whole Google Cloud. So if you had to create, let's say, navigation menu, you can either choose to go click here and choose all the settings you want for that VM instance, or you could just simply type all of it in one line over here and it will just start working. So that is the best part about command line interface. And this was all about Cloud Shell. So in here, Cloud Shell, when we opened it first, it is telling that first of all, this is our username. In Unix or Linux style, we are given the username over here, and then this is the username over here, and this is the location. So this tilt symbol, this is called the tilt symbol, means we are in the home folder, right? And then this is the computer name and the domain. So this is the a complete way we can say uh, what are all the information present to us. So currently we are using this project over here, right? This project could be changed, and since we are already into it, we don't need to use it. But if we had to change our user currently or the project we are currently in, we could simply use the gcloud config set project command, and then followed with it we can just simply type the project ID. So let me show you how that works. So in Google Cloud we have this very handy feature where we can just select the text which we want to copy and then leave it. It will be copied automatically, then simply press Ctrl V and it is over here. And then we need the project ID which we are in. So let us get the project ID from Quick Labs and just paste it over here. It will change the project, but we are already in that project, and since Google Cloud is assigning a different resources for Cloud Shell, it is asking whether you want to give it a permission or not, and that permission we can just give it by clicking the authorize button. And that is how we use the Cloud Shell. And let me give you a brief introduction about how a terminal works. Okay, so I guess that is the next part in our Cloud Shell. Yes, that is the next part about how it uses Linux style architecture. So if let's say we want to create a file in Linux or Unix, what we with the command we use for it is touch, and that touch command will create a new file. So currently we are in this we are in home folder, right? This tilde symbol means the home folder. There, if we want to create a file, let's say we want to create a .txt file, test.txt file. It has created the file over here. So how do we know whether it has created the file or not? We can just simply see what are all the files present in current folder, or a folder is also called as directory. So to do that, we have ls command. Ls means list all the files present in the directory, and then it will show we have two files present here, the test file we created and a readme file for using the Cloud Shell by default, which we created automatically. So by using this touch command, we created a file. Now let us write something into this file. So in Linux we have something called Nano. This Nano is a text editor. So what do you call a text editor? In Windows you must be familiar with Notepad. In Notepad we can create a file and just save the .txt file. Similarly, we have Nano over here. What Nano does is that it gives us the ability to not leave our terminal or our shell and edit the file directly from there. So if you type nano text.txt, it will open the text editor for us, and here we can type anything. So let's type it's fun with of Google Cloud, right? And to save this file, see we have a arrow mark symbol here, and then we have G over here. What does it mean is that we have to press Control and that particular button. So to save this file, we have to press write out. So write out means it is writing into the file, it is saving it. So to save it, we can press Control O. Then it will ask us whether you want the same file name. We'll say yes. And then to exit the editor, text editor, we just have to type Control X and the file. Now to check whether it actually made changes to the file or not, we can use the cat command. So the cat command will print everything that is present in the file. So to do that, we can simply type cat test.txt, and yes, the sentence we typed in our file is shown in the terminal directly. And that is how we use our Linux style Cloud Shell. And let us see whether we covered all the parts which is mentioned in our quick labs. And do note that we have only 5 minutes left now, so all our resources will be ended and it will be deleted, and we will not be able to access our Google Cloud platform after that, right? So let us finish it first. And okay, we already finished it anyway. So before leaving this quick lab session, I would like to show you something else as well. So like we have something called Visual Studio Code in our laptop, where in Windows, where we can actually get to access all the files in our system. We have a code editor as well, and we have the Cloud Shell as well present over here. To do that, we just have to get that similar feature in Google Cloud. We just have to click on Open Editor, which will open a new tab. So we have to enable third-party cookies, or else it will have to open it in the new tab. And then we have a similar VS Code-like feature over here. Here we get to access all our files. We can have find and search. We can link it to a Git repository. So all those parts can come over here. And if you want to open a terminal, we can just click on New Terminal. It will open the same Cloud Shell terminal for us. So amazing, right? We can edit the file over here directly again. And we get a proper graphical user interface over here instead of using the command line interface. So if you're comfortable using graphical interface, Google Cloud has got you covered over here as well. And that is it about this lab session which we had. a tour of Quick Labs and Google Cloud. We learned how Quick Labs and Google Cloud work together, right? And that is it. To end your lab, we can simply click on End Lab button, and it will remove all our access to our cloud project. And that is it about a tour of Quick Labs and Google Cloud. So do you have any questions now? All this time I was asking questions. Now you are free to ask questions to me or to Sadhana as well.
Vinayak,
Yes.
this is Chaitanya from CSC third year.
Mhm.
I just completed my first introductory session, and it says I'm good to go. But when I checked my credits, I still have 0 credits. I'm not able to start the second one.
Okay. Sadhana, could you take up his question?
Yeah, questions related to credits, please try refreshing your page. And if you still don't get it, I will get back to you because we haven't gotten any information about that yet. But hopefully after today, because a few mails are still being sent out. So after today, hopefully everything will be fine. And if it's still not fine after today and tomorrow, if you still have any questions, you can put it up in the WhatsApp group. I will be creating a new WhatsApp group for the people who are a part of 30 Days of Google Cloud. So you can ask your questions in that group once I create it, when I get the final list.
Right.
So as of now, it's fine even if you do not have credits. But since you've done the first session, I will check into that. I will ask someone and let you know. But for the people who have 0 credits initially itself, try using some other browser or try refreshing the page, signing out and signing in. And if you still don't get credits, don't worry. After today, if there is a problem, you can contact any one of us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me introduce you another section of Quick Labs which will be actually helpful to all of you. So in case you are not able to access a data or let's say the information given here, the steps given here is correct. Sometimes what happens is that we are using Kubernetes over here, right? So we are depending on open source contributors who are actually creating those softwares for us. So when they update, even Google Cloud has to update their system over there, and even Quick Labs has to update the instructions over here. So it may sometimes happen that you may face a problem. So in such cases, you can contact Quick Labs support via email, or I guess there is a contact section here as well. Let me check that for you. So last year when I remember that it was in this corner over here. So has anyone used the support section of Quick Labs over here? Okay, so I got a question from Likita over here. What should we do after finishing first lab? So yeah, it is still present over here, but you may see that our changes are not working right now. If we click anything, it will not work. It will work, but then you may face issues where it will say permission not granted or such things. See, some problems will show up. So you just simply close that incognito window which you were logged into earlier. So just simply close it, and when you are starting another lab and you click the start lab button, you will be assigned with another account over here which you will have to sign in. So that's how Quick Lab works. So yes, that's it for today. Does anyone else have any questions? We can take that up.
Also, if you have any questions related to Quick Labs or anything, there is a support alias, Quick Labs support. You can mail them and they are very prompt in their replies. So they will reply within a few hours or so. So you can mail them with your queries and they will get back to you. And also, if when you're trying labs, the maximum number of tries is 5 tries. So you can try one lab 5 times to pass the lab. But if you exceed 5, you can again send a mail and they will give you another option to like try it once again. And the labs that you are supposed to do for this Google Cloud is basically what I told all of you, the 2 tracks, which is the data science as well as the cloud track. So all of you will have to do those tracks, and I will be sharing a resources sheet as well. So in that resources sheet, you have videos and other help that you can see, YouTube tutorials or anything like that, any command code references, anything like that. I will be sharing that sheet, and hopefully I will be sharing all of those when I create a new WhatsApp group for only the people from 30 Days of Google Cloud. So as soon as one more thing is, when you earn your credits after your tour of Quick Labs, you have to start the first lab. And once you start the first lab, you will earn more credits or a monthly subscription. And you will have to continue doing the labs for the monthly subscription to keep, the monthly subscription should still stay with you. So you have to continue doing the labs. And just another, I'm repeating this once again. For receiving goodies or any reward, you need to complete the labs properly. I'll repeat it once again. You have 2 options: either complete either track 1 or track 2. So either one of those labs, or complete both the tracks. So you have different goodies for both. If you have any questions, you can unmute or put it up in the chat.
Okay, so I'll take Sri Varshini's question. So yes, to complete the quest, you do not necessarily have to complete the skill badge. You can do it in any order you like. But to complete a quest, you need to complete all the labs over there. So if I show you my account over here, so it will, I'll have to sign into my main account again. Let me do that. So this one won't work because I have already, yes, I have already signed into other accounts. So I'll have to sign out over here and sign in again. Yes, so if you notice, there will be many quests present over here, and each quest will have many labs present in it. So like I told earlier, so whichever you have completed will show with a tick mark over here, right? And to finish that quest, to earn this badge, what you have to do is you have to go through all these lab sessions present over here, and then you can enroll and unroll from it. You have, and if you enroll, it will show up in this home page of yours. And if you want to keep a check on whether you completed the quest or not, you can simply go to this profile icon of yours, click on profile, and it will show you the public profile, which you can show it to anyone, and there all the quests and skill badges which you have done will be populated properly. So there is no need to worry. Uh, Google will keep in touch, keep a check of your public profile, which you shared earlier in the Google form, I guess. And there you will get to know from them, and they'll get to know whether which all parts you have completed. So there is no need to worry about that part. So yes.
Vinayak, so basically we started with the Google. Just a second. We started with the Google Cloud Essentials quest, right? So we have to complete that and then go back to the syllabus of cloud engineering track and then do quests one by one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Done. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So any other questions?
If there are any questions, you can ask us or we can wrap this up.
Actually, how do we get more credits?
So once you're done with the tour, I think you have like when you start, I think you have 9 credits.
Yeah, I do
Finish
have
the
some.
tour, you will probably have 9 credits or the same number of credits. But once you keep doing the labs, your credits will increase.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just one last thing. Now my Google profile says that monthly subscription has been activated. So it doesn't matter how many credits each lab takes, right? So of the whole month, I can take how many labs I want.
Yes, but follow the thing that we've told you, the 2 tracks. So you can either start with 1 track
Huh, yeah,
and yeah, so finish those tracks, and after that, if you want, you can explore. But you will not be eligible for any rewards or so if you do not finish the tracks. So
Yes.
finish the tracks, and after that, you can explore.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
And suppose anyone got their monthly subscription before the 27th, and because 30 days of Google Cloud is still 27th of October, and suppose like you got your monthly subscription on Friday as such, so which was like a few days, it was on 24th. So once your monthly subscription would end on 24th of October. So to regain that, you need to complete your quests and tracks, and you will get another monthly subscription later on, or an extension of your present subscription. Any other questions? Okay, if you guys have no questions, we'll always be taking up questions in the WhatsApp groups. And as I said, there will be a new WhatsApp group formed for the people. Akash, you've raised your hand. Do you have any question?
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so there will be a new group form. We will remove everyone from these 2 groups, and I will be forming a new group. And in that group, I will be sharing resources for the tracks and labs as well. And I will be receiving a report of all of yours progress. So please keep doing this. You have time till 27th of October. So if there are no more questions, we can end this lab. Event.
Okay, thank you for joining us. We will love to see your response in these 30 days.